Hey there, Heather Boyd Wire here, and welcome to day 8 of the 10-day Paperclip Ring-Making Challenge. Today I'm making paperclip chain link rings. We're going to start by opening up the paperclip. This is a standard size paperclip, 28 millimeter size, and we're going to slowly open it up with our flat pliers. Go very slowly around the curve so it doesn't get kinked up. If you don't have a paperclip, you can use 3 3/4 inches of half hard wire in 20 gauge, or if your wire is softer, you can use 18 gauge. So straighten out the paperclip, and if you want to do it by hand without your tools, just push on the little rounded areas with your thumb to straighten them out. So like I said, go slowly with it. Just go around the curves very slowly to straighten out that whole paper clip. And then flip it around and do the rest of it, pushing the curve with your thumb and your finger. For the infinity sign links, we are going to take our looping pliers and make some very small infinity signs. So start with the loop on one side and then use the same end of the looping pliers to do the other loop. And then you don't need to use cutters. You can just hold that end with the flat pliers and bend it back and forth. And then we are going to do another one, always using the same size on the looping pliers. These are the Beadalon looping pliers. I'll link them up in the description below the video. So we're just going to keep going with these. Again, hold it with the flat pliers, bend it back and forth, and it will snap. And we're going to make a bunch of these depending on how big your finger is. You can make about 5 or 6 of them. And then we're going to open it up. And I have these extra large crimps. We're just going to put a little crimp on there and we're going to close it up. So you want to make sure the crimp or bead you are putting on there has a big enough hole to fit the paper clip through twice. So we're going to open up the end of the next one and then stick that end through the same crimp to attach them together. And then we're going to close that up so it's flush. Give it a little push so you see the two are looped together. And then we're going to keep going in the same manner where we slide on the crimp and close up the loop. Make sure it's well closed. And then we're going to open it up and we're going to keep attaching the links together with the crimps, making sure that when you close the loops, they're nice and snug. So we have a little chain link there, and then what we need to do is open up the last one, and we'll put a last crimp on there, close it up, and then we need to open up the first link so we can make a loop that will form the ring. So we're going to take the end, wind it around, make sure you don't flip it. We want it to be all flat in the right direction. So get that end right into the crimp, and then we have to close up the infinity sign. Make sure it's all closed up, and you can give them a little bit of a bend so they'll be more curved around your finger. So just a little tiny bend. So there's a teeny little angle in there, so it'll curve around your finger. Just keep going through and do them all. And then it'll be ready to wear as a ring. So you could just slide it on your finger, and it looks super cool with little infinity sign chain links. So the second one, we're just making a bunch of jump rings. Again, using the looping pliers by Beadalon. So we're just going to make them all the same size. And again, we don't need to cut it. We can just hold it with our flat pliers and bend the wire back and forth and it will snap. So we're going to keep going with that. Make a bunch of jump rings. The looping pliers are great because you always get the same size, and bend it back and forth and it just snaps. Now the number of jump rings you're going to need is going to depend on the size of your finger and also depend on the size of your jump rings. So just make a bunch until you have enough to go around your finger, and then we want to make some teeny tiny little jump rings. And we're making these instead of beads. So if you don't have crimps, you can use this method to attach the links together. So we're just using the end of our round nose pliers and just making some teeny tiny jump rings. And again, we don't need to use cutters. We'll just hold them and bend it back and forth until the wire snaps. So we're going to have a bunch of these and then press them so they're closed. You want to make sure the loop is completely closed and push it in if there's an end sticking out. We want to have them as round as possible. So we could just tweak them a little bit. They're a little bit magnetic too, so they're going to stick to your pliers a little bit. So we're going to put one on the jump ring, and then we're going to get another jump ring and slide it through the teeny jump ring to attach the two loops together. There's a lot of potential for this design. You could just make chains and bracelets and chainmail, all kinds of things with the paperclip jump rings. So we're going to keep going along and keep attaching the rings together with the teeny tiny jump rings. They're a little tricky to hold. I'm using the tweezer nose pliers from Xuron to hang on to the little jump rings, and we're just going to keep going until the chain is long enough to go around our finger. Just open them up with the flat nose pliers. I'll link up where you can get the tweezer nose pliers in the description. So once you have your full chain, you're going to bring it around so the rings are staying in the same direction. You don't want them to flip. And we want to attach them through the mini jump ring so it makes a complete circle. And then close up that last jump ring. Press it right in there so there are no little pokey ends. And that makes a really funky little chain ring. And you just slide it onto your finger. Super cool. And then I tried one with larger beads, but they were a little bulky. So those are little crow beads. And you see the little jump ring is much more discreet and small. And there's our finished ring. I have another 10-day paperclip challenge that I'm going to link up in the description below, and all kinds of other resources of where you can find materials, wire, beads, tools, and templates and tutorials in my Etsy DIY shop. So thanks again for watching. Have fun with the paperclip rings, and we'll see you the next time.